or maybe just in the chat section. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Great, thank you so much, thank you. Thank you, Olua, Fumilola, and Michael, thank you. So great, so having seen the video, what do you think happened? What do you think Eric should have done? Very quickly.
Do you mind?
Yes, please go ahead. Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, so Eric didn't do enough market research before he went on to design his product, and he has assumed that the market needed what he was building. So I feel if there had been an in-depth review of the customer's need, that interview was doing later after he has an MVP, he may have gotten an idea of what to build to start with and not just assume that that's what the market needs.
Wow. Thank you so much, Michael. That was brilliant. Thank you. And I see something in the chat section that said, I think he could have thought about customers' interest first. Okay, thank you, Sarat. And Eugene says he would have conducted a proper needs assessment before designing his product. Beautiful. Michael also, okay, great. Okay, and I see Titilope says says he didn't conduct a market research. And Friday Emmanuel says he dived into project without a survey. Nathaniel says Eric could have made a proper research on what his customers need before embarking on the product development. And great, he didn't take his time to identify his customers' needs. Thank you so much, Eniola. First, there was no survey done, so he has no target audience. Beautiful. I think we've basically stated what it is. So Eric didn't ask questions before he delved into his idea. He didn't do his market research. He didn't try to find out what the interests of his customers were before he delved into producing, before he delved into bringing the idea to life. So at the start of this session, I asked if any of us have had an idea, and a lot of us indicated that we've had ideas. So the question is, the idea that we have had, what do we intend to do with the idea? Anybody can have ideas, actually. You can have ideas. But depending on what you want to do with your idea will determine the approach that you would basically use. It will determine the approach that you would basically use. Now, there are questions that you have to answer to determine if your idea is viable. There are key questions you have to answer to determine if your idea is viable, because I'm sure that no one wants to end up producing something, creating a product, and at the end, nobody comes to buy it. Nobody comes to ask of it. It's actually hurting. But before I go ahead to tell us questions we need to answer, has anyone here, you've developed a product or you've created something out of the idea you had and discovered that that wasn't what the people needed, and you discovered that the product you created or whatever it is you created didn't make any headway? Has anyone had such experience before? Has anyone had such experience before? Very quickly, please. We're here to learn, and it's supposed to be interactive and engaging. If you've had such experience, maybe it could be anything, maybe in your secondary school days or in your university, or it could be at home, whatever it is you've developed. Okay, Friday says in a way, but isn't for a large target audience. Yes, it doesn't matter whether for large audience or for a slimmer audience. You've created something and it didn't make a headway. Okay, Friday, at the point this thing didn't make a headway, what do you think happened? What was the problem? Can you please quickly share with us? What do you think was the problem, Friday?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, at first, when I tried listing the ideas to some set of persons, they're like, some were buying into the ideas. Why some were like, it's not relevant, it's not needful, that the idea is not needful, that, like in a discouraging manner. So what I did was that I have to reach out to some person that I know that at least would appreciate my idea. I have to reach out to some person that would appreciate my idea so that I can build more confidence with the concepts I'm trying to work on, the solution I'm trying to bet. Yeah, so that is it. So it's for me, I said that it's like out of 100, 45% were buying my idea, but the remaining percentage are just not favorable to my idea accomplishment. So that is it. So, but nevertheless, I'm still working on it. So I never go discouraged. So that is just it.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, Friday. I don't know what that idea was, but down the line in this session, we would understand some very critical things, right? That in terms of finding whether your idea is viable, it's not just enough to ask people. It's not enough to get opinions. We're going to find out why we progress in this session. I saw a hand up. Please bring it back if you want to speak. Okay, yes, Michael, go ahead very quickly.
Okay, this one is still fresh. With a friend, I run an ed tech. So we did an incubation program for software engineers. So the idea is it's handler related. They are going to be incubated for a period of time while learning. And then after they must have been qualified, we're going to get them a job placement. We're going to get them jobs, and then they're going to pay off for the tuition of the training that we have done. That was the model. And then we had thought that we'll be able to, can you hear me?
I can hear you, please.
Okay, so we had thought that we'll be able to then get them stipends to get them through the period of the training, because we would require them to get off every other thing they were doing just so that they can concentrate. But the funding didn't come in, but we started the program nonetheless. So halfway, they couldn't keep up. They have other things they have to do. They have other responsibilities. We had thought we'll be able to get them fund to get them through that period. So it comes to a point that where they wanted to go and attend to other things that can help them to make money and to survive. So we started having a level of dropping out. People were dropping out of the program halfway. And at the end of the day, we see that this cannot work. This cannot work. It couldn't work that way. So we had to revamp, and now we are back to the drawing board to see how we can work around the resources available and see power the idea. So yes, we have one like that.
Okay, so Michael, very quickly, what, in just one word, what do you think actually stunted the progress of that idea?
I think that planning, there's a lot of faith in our planning. It wasn't so much actual.
Okay, it was just basically the planning, not that the idea wasn't viable.
No, the idea was viable. It was the plan. The resource planning wasn't solid enough.
The resource planning wasn't solid enough. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now there are 1,001 things that would make a business idea not to thrive. So we are assuming on this session that all of us, the idea we're talking about are business ideas, right? That's my assumption, right? So aside your idea being viable, some ideas are viable, but there are some things that actually will stunt the growth. But in this session, we're looking to trash how you can check or determine if your idea is viable. So I see a lot of responses in the chat section. So this is a clear indication that some of us have had some experiences. Somebody says, okay, yeah, that's Eugene says, I designed a solar cooker thinking people would buy, but at the end people did not buy. But when I designed a solar dryer, instead people bought in mass. Wow. People bought in mass, you see, and that's what I still produce and sell to date. You can imagine. So Eugene had developed something earlier, but it didn't sell, and she changed it and developed something else, and people appreciated it and they received it. Okay, Sarah said the problem I had then was that my target audience were wrong. Okay. And okay, I see Eugene. I now have a solar dryer. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing this, Eugene. Abel says in Kenya we have power generation, but people around the area are suffering a lot because of water. Okay, guys, help. Great. So it calls for somebody generating an idea to solve that problem. And Friday said it was from Leap Africa program engagement. A lot of persons in the engagement group were in support of my idea. Why some bought into it? Some trashed it, out in the way. Now, thank you so much for sharing, those of us that did. So there are some ideas that are viable and there are some ideas that are not viable. So we'll find out. There are critical questions. There are questions that you need to answer to determine if your idea is viable. That's the very first step is even generating the idea in the first place. So the fact that we generated ideas at some point means we have bypassed the first step. You've taken the first step. Now you're looking to get to the top, right? That's your focus. You're looking to get to the top. The very first level is idea generation. You've generated your idea. So the idea that you've generated is, should you go ahead to run with the idea just like Eric Ries did, and discovered after 6 months that all the time, all the resource that they have put into this product was just a waste of time? I'm sure. Okay, kindly please mute your mic if you're not speaking. Mute your mic unless you want to talk to us. Use the reaction tool, raise your hand, and I will give you room to speak. There are questions you need to answer to determine if your idea is viable. The first one is, what is the goal and vision of your idea? What is the goal? What are you looking to achieve? What experience are you targeting to create? What's the vision? What's the goal of your idea? What's the goal? Do you want to make money from this idea? So you need to determine that, because that would then influence the next line of action. The next one is, have you identified the target market for your idea? Right, like somebody earlier said that she produced a product but discovered that the target audience was wrong. The target audience was wrong. There's some products that you can't produce in Nigeria, not because they are not good, but because the target audience is not here in Nigeria. You can't sell to people in Nigeria. You can't sell such products to people in Nigeria. It would not sell. Reason, when you go to Yaba, for those of us in Lagos, when you go to Yaba, you see those guys that will be asking you, come and buy winter jacket, you know, because they know that people are jackpying, people are traveling out, people are leaving Nigeria. And if you're traveling out, that means you will have need for what? A winter jacket, you know. So have you identified the target market for your idea? Is the target market large enough to support your business? Is that target market large enough to support your business? Your idea may be beautiful. It's beautiful. I mean, beautiful. But really, your location, your target market, have you identified them? Will that target market help you to achieve the goal that you want to achieve? You want to make more money. And because you want to make more money, you want to develop a product. And the product you want to develop, you have a target audience. I want to sell it to young professionals within 0 to 3 years of work experience. The question is, can they help you to achieve that goal? Would they help you? Can they afford that product? Can they afford that product? Have you identified your target market? Assess your market size and assess the potential growth opportunities for your idea. What is the potential growth opportunities? How well can this idea blossom? How well can it grow? How well can it become better? How much can I make out of this idea? Remember, the assumption is that all of us here on this call, the idea that we're generating are business ideas. And if you're generating a business idea, that means the idea should make you some money. So your target audience, do they have the money to pay for that product? You need to answer the question to determine if that idea is viable for you at that time, in that place, in your location. There are some places that you will stay in Nigeria. There are some products you can't sell there. Not because the products are not beautiful. They are good, they are great ideas, but you can't, they won't thrive in that area because the people there are not the target people. The people there cannot afford it. They cannot afford it. The next question you need to answer is, have you determined what sets your idea apart from existing solutions and competitors? What sets your idea apart from existing solutions and competitors. Listen, there is no new thing on the face of the earth. Nothing is necessarily novel. So what we have today, innovation is basically adding to something, tweaking something, making it better. So if you want to tell me that your product, this is the product, in fact, this product, nobody has ever developed something like that. I don't have any competitor. There's nobody that has even done something similar. You're telling yourself a lie. I see the hands up. I'm going to get to you. So you need to determine.
Hi, Ogechi, please, could you unmute your mic? Sorry, that was a mistake.
Okay, can you hear me now, please? At what point did you stop hearing me?
Yes, it just happened just now.
Just now, okay, beautiful, thank you. So what is your unique selling proposition? What is the uniqueness? Have you identified the uniqueness of that idea? Have you identified the existing solution to see how the uniqueness of your idea can thrive above the existing solutions? And then the next question you need to answer is, have you tested the critical assumptions that you have made while generating your idea? Remember the story of Eric Ries, who had developed a digital product but didn't go ahead to find out what a target audience would really want to have. Eric made some assumptions that people would like to have their existing instant messages integrated into the platform. That was an assumption. So the way you generate idea and you assume, oh, people will buy this product. You're trying to, for example, you thought of, okay, let me start making meat pie. I'll start making meat pie and be selling. I'll go in front of that junction. That's where I'll position my, my shop. That's where I'll start selling it. You've made that is an assumption that people would buy your product. It's an assumption because you've not tested it. It's not real. It's just you assuming. And it's okay to make assumptions. For those of us that have written projects, we call them hypotheses. It's okay to make assumptions. Now, have you tested those assumptions? Have you tested the assumptions? You need to validate your customers and be sure that these customers can buy your product. Now, we shouldn't end at the point of opinions. Anybody can say anything. Let's say you have an idea and you went to your sister, your friends, your church people, your mosque people, and they told you, wow, this is beautiful. It's a great idea. It is wonderful. You sent out survey, people responded, wow, I will buy it. People responded, wow, I will love it. You shouldn't stop at that point. You shouldn't stop at that point. The next question will show us clearly what we need to do to be sure that this idea is viable. It's not enough to send out surveys. Opinions are not enough. Opinions are not enough. You could have like 1,000 people tell you, I will buy. But the question, it is easier said than done. Remember, it is easier said. Anybody can say anything. Anybody can say anything. So don't rely on people's opinions. Don't rely on opinions. Rely on behaviors. Behavior is the real thing that you're going to have when you finally bring your idea to life. Behavior. Rely on people's behavior. I tell you, no, if you insult me, I won't get angry. That's my opinion. Wait until you insult me and see how I react. So it is my behavior that you know that it's for real and not my opinion. You see a boy and a girl, the boy checked the lady and they became friends. At first, the guy told the lady, I'm going to love you for the rest of my life. In fact, I'm not going to beat you. In fact, I'm going to give you money. I'm going to take you to, take you to Dubai. I'm going to do all that. Those are opinions, I tell you. Those are opinions. When you get into the real business, now I'm going to digress a bit. We have some single people at the point of courtship, right? At the point you're courting, your partner or your partner to be, it has been telling you things, what I'm going to do, what I'm not going to do, and all that. But you really need to look beyond what the person is saying. to how the person is behaving. Look beyond what the person is saying. Anybody can say anything. So anybody can tell you that your idea is viable and they will buy into it. It is at the point you now bring the idea to life and the person then buys. That's what will tell you that this idea is viable. Now, after you have tested your critical assumptions that people would buy, oh, that this thing, that young people will like it, old people will like it, this dress, pregnant women will love it, you know, after you have tested your assumption, while you are testing your assumption, another thing you need to consider is to consider deploying a minimum viable product, MVP, minimum viable product. Now you ask me, what is a minimum viable product? A minimum viable.
Sorry to cut you short, Ogechi. So sorry. Your slides are not up.
Okay, I'm not projecting my slides at this point because what I'm even saying are not basically on the slides.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure.
Yes, I'm not
Sorry
projecting
about that.
I'm sure we are following actually. I'm sure we are following. So I see.
Yes, we are.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we are.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, beautiful. Beautiful.
Yes, we are.
Now, the fifth one is consider deploying a minimum viable product, MVP, minimum viable product. And you ask me, what is a minimum viable product? A minimum viable product is a product with a minimum amount of effort. That product with a minimum amount of effort used to test a specific value assumption. I'm going to explain. A minimum viable product is, oh, I want to start making meat pie, for example. I want to start making meat pie, and I will go to that university. I will stay at that corner to sell my meat pie, and I'm sure people would buy. So for you to deploy a minimum viable product for that idea, you don't need to go ahead to make like 10 pieces of meat pie or even 100 pieces of meat pie, for example. You could decide to just do 5 or 10. So instead of making a large number, you're making a smaller piece and go to that spot where you're thinking of locating your business and see how it goes, see how people get to buy. So for those of us who are producing something, you're creating a product. You're creating a product, and this product you're producing it for young people, and you think they would like it, they would use it. Can you do a brief version of that same product and deploy it to those same target audience and see how they will behave with it? Reason I said you don't depend on people's opinions, you rely or you make your inferences from their behaviors. From their behavior, how have they acted? How have they responded? Not what have they said. Right. So a little amount. If Eric had gone ahead to deploy a minimum viable product, he wouldn't have lost so much. He wouldn't have lost time. He put in 6 months with a lot of money into that product, and at the end, he got the result he got. People, nobody downloaded the app. Nobody downloaded it. People wanted something different. So you don't want to go ahead to spend so much money. I have someone approached me at the beginning of this year to say she wants to start selling a product. She wants to start selling red oil, for example. Red oil, yes, that's what she told me she wants to sell at the beginning of the year. So I told her, great, that's a wonderful idea. It's beautiful. People like red oil and all that. I said, okay, can you start from buy from people? Her plan was to go all blown, to go and import from a different state and bring it and start selling. That was her very first line of action. That's what she wanted to do. I said, before you go ahead to do this, can you try to buy maybe like about 2 or 3 rubbers and see and sell it actually. Just sell to your target audience and see how they behave towards it, how they would buy, and see how you thrive in it before you go ahead to spend so much money traveling all the way and coming back. You know, the reason why people get into depression is because of this. Some startups, some young people, some young entrepreneurs, some tech people who are still young, who are still starters, The reason why they get frustrated and they get into depression is because we put in a whole lot into our first trial, and at the end, what we meet is less than what we expected. And then you're frustrated, and then you feel this idea cannot work. But if you had deployed a minimum viable product, you've only put in a little amount of time. You've only put in a little amount of money. You've only put in a little amount of money. So if it doesn't work, you can easily tweak. You can easily make your changes without losing so much. So you want to consider that. How many of us know the product Zappos? Zappos is an online shoe company. How many of us know that product, Zappos? Zappos is an online shoe company, and Zappos was birthed as a result of a need. Now, another thing you need to consider is your idea must be targeting a particular problem. It must be solving a problem. Your idea must be solving a problem, because if it's not solving a problem, then it's not viable. Now, the people who established Zappos, it started that, I think in the year 1999, the guy went out to buy shoes. He went out to buy shoes, and he wanted a particular size and a particular color. So he went to a shop, he saw the size, but he didn't see the color he wanted. He felt bad. He went to another shop, he saw the color, but he didn't see the size he wanted. So after the whole up and down all through the market, he didn't get what he wanted, and he went home. He went home frustrated. He didn't get what he wanted. So at that point, he knew there were online stores that sold shoes, but there were no stores that sold just only shoes. The stores that existed then were selling both shoes and clothing and other things. So because of that experience that they had, they decided to establish an online company that was majorly for shoe sales, majorly for shoes, only for shoes. And today they are thriving. And before they went ahead to create that site, to establish that business, to bring that idea to life, they first of all deployed a minimum viable product. They created a very little site and a few shoes, just a very little site, and they deployed it and discovered that people actually bought. Because their assumption was that people would buy shoes online, but they needed to test it. And they did test it, and they discovered that yes, people would actually buy shoes. Today, it's a very successful company. I mean, very successful. So before you launch out, please consider this following. Ensure that your idea is solving a problem. And aside solving a problem, you have identified your target markets, and your target market can actually pay. They can actually pay. They can actually help you to achieve your financial goal for that idea. And of course, please deploy a minimum viable product to test your critical assumptions before you go ahead launching full blown, before you go ahead going through full blown. You don't want to go all out and then you're back frustrated and back depressed. I'm sure nobody wants to have such experience here. So very important. At this point, I would want to stop. And I'm sure that we have a lot of people here who would rather be the Zappos and not the Eric example I gave. The Eric example went ahead to deploy without checking with the target audience to find out if this product would work with them. Zappos went ahead to find out, Zappos discovered a problem and went ahead to find out if people would even like this thing. Let's even test. We are assuming, let's even test. So don't build your idea on assumption. Build your idea on the real behavior of your target audience. Don't build your idea on assumptions. Don't build your idea on opinions. Build your idea on the real behavior of your target audience. Thank you so much for listening. At this point, I would want to stop. I don't know if there are questions. Go ahead and ask your questions. And Shaifa, I think I've come to the end of my presentation. Thank you and thank you. And I see some hands up. So Taufik, I see your hand up. Eniola, I see your hand up. I don't know if you want to say anything.
Yes, I have something to say. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
You mentioned having,
There's this background noise. There's this background noise that can't let me hear you clearly.
Okay, now can you hear me better?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, your lecture is actually fascinating. So you mentioned something about knowing your target audience before launching your business, right? So what do you think about? Can you hear me?
Yeah, just I'm straining my ears to hear you actually.
Oh, sorry. Now can you hear me better? Let me speak louder.
Okay, better.
Yes. So you mentioned knowing your target audience before launching your business full blown or before even starting the business at all, right? Now,
Yes.
I actually I am into selling cash crops. So
You're into selling what?
cash crops.
Cash crops, okay?
So sometimes also I indulge in selling all this maize and I don't know if you know what Ilubo is. Ilubo, that's yam flour. Now you buy and keep and sell later. You buy for some times now during the rainy season when it's out, you buy, then you keep it. After some time, you sell it out. So I want to know that how would knowing my target audience help my business that way?
Okay,
Do you
I
get my
think your
question?
your voice is louder now. Your voice is
Yes,
louder now.
I said how would knowing my target audience help my business when actually what I do is buying I'll buy my product, I'll keep it for some time, then sell it later on. Now, if I actually buy them and keep it, knowing that okay, if in few months or days the price will raise and then I'll have a better profit. But then something came up and then I run into loss. How do you think I can cope with that?
Okay, so I hope I understood your question anyway. So if your question is how identifying your target audience would help your business. Now, if that
Okay.
business, if that business is a new business, if it's a new business that you've not done at that location before, with that set of audience in mind, with that target audience, you can mute, please. Just mute and listen. Just mute and listen, Taufik. Thank you. If that business is a new business, then you want to find out who your target audience are before you go ahead launching your business. I don't know if it's a new business, but if it's a new business, you need to find out your target audience so that you would know if they actually need what you want to start selling. Would they need it? If they would need it, would they be able to buy it at the price that you want to sell it at? So it's one thing for them to need it, is another thing for them to be able to buy. So if your audience are rich audience, they have the money and your product is quite pricey and you think they can buy it, of course, and you think they need it, of course, right? So your audience need, your audience capacity, very critical, because it's not enough for them to need it. Some people, oh, this is beautiful. Ah, this is so nice. You are selling a product. Let's assume you're selling a product. So you bring a product to your office. Let's say you're a 95 person, bring it to your office. And your colleagues say, oh, this is nice. And what your colleagues earn, they earn like 100,000. And the product you have brought is sold for, let's say it's even maybe human hair that is sold for 250,000. And you know that these your colleagues, they are not people that spend more than they earn. Would they buy? They love it, but they don't have the money to buy it. So you need to study your audience and find out their capacity, their need before you go ahead launching your idea. I don't know if this answered your question, Taufik. Okay. Taufik, please confirm if it answered your question. If you still want to ask more specific questions, I would be glad to still speak with you, maybe after this call or at any time it works. Okay, great. I see other hands up. I seen Eniola. Eniola, do you have any question? And I see other questions in the chat section.
Yes,
Eniola,
ma'am.
Okay, please go ahead, Eniola. Go ahead, please.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for the opportunity. So, you explained MVP, like you said, it is ideal or it is advisable one deploy MVP before, going into the idea, like betting it in mass.
Yes.
I don't know.
That
Yes. So now I want to ask, because you explained MVP as a product with a minimum amount of effort. And I'm
yes.
like, is that not going to affect the quality of the product? I don't know. Maybe you should just do
Okay.
more elaboration on that minimum amount of effort, like what you meant.
Okay.
Like,
Okay. So what I mean is, when I say minimum amount of effort, I mean in terms of quantity, not quality. Quantity. So the product, maintain the quality that you want to produce. The quality has to be, it has to be exact, but the quantity could be smaller, so that you don't spend so much money and at the end discover that people don't actually want that. So it's quantity, that's the minimum, not the quality. The quality has to be intact. I don't know if that answers your question.
all right, thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I see Tin. Tin, do you have any question? Please go ahead.
Hear me?
Okay. I can hear you. Please, very quickly, very quickly. We are short of time.
So
I can't hear you. Yeah, Tinks, please go ahead to type your question in the chat section. I can't hear you. Please type so that we can save time. Type your question. I can't hear you. There's this noise coming from your background that it's not letting me hear you clearly. Adenika, please go ahead very quickly in like 10 seconds, please.
Thank you very much, ma.
Yeah, thank you.
In a situation where I'm like myself, I'm into education, and I'm also into conventional race. So presently, based on the situation of the country now, so everybody trying to cut their quota according to their sizes and also minimize some expense. So sometimes, like I've carried out my MVP, and they responded very well based on the quality and the chances now. So just what happened of recent, high cost of living, everything just increased. So if they have to, if my business still have to go, it will definitely affect the business quite all right, because lesser people will be going, compared to those that responded at the first instance. So how do I go at this point? Or what other things can I apply?
Okay. So there are a lot of factors to the question you just asked. Of course, most businesses are being impacted by the economic situation. Most businesses are being impacted, but that doesn't mean that whatever product that people need, that they will need less of it, unless it's a luxury product. If it's a luxury product would be impacted when people don't have so much money to spend and things are expensive. Luxury products would be impacted, especially for people who are low class, the average citizens in terms of economy, right? But if your product is for people who have the money to spend, they have the money to spend and they are up for luxury. Luxury is a need for them. There are some people that luxury is a need for them. There are some people that luxury is not a need, it's just a want. It's something it's a good to have, but it's not a must to have. So depending on what your product is. But remember that most business, let me not say every, most businesses, most products are being impacted by the economy. And that's a natural, it's something you may not necessarily be able to change or control. It's not your fault, it's the economy. So as regards still maintaining the level of response or having your product still thrive, maybe you want to add some things to it. I don't know what product it is. If it is a product that is a necessity, for example, food, people will definitely eat no matter what happens. People will definitely drink water no matter what happens, right? So those kind of products, no matter what happens, the people who are into that business, they will sell. They will definitely sell. But products like clothing is even basic. People will definitely wear clothes. You can't go out naked, depending on the kind of clothing that we are talking about, right? So I hope this answers your question, Taiwo. I hope this answers your question.
Very much, very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Taiwo. Yeah, I see a lot of hands up, and Sheifa, you would have to save me here. We spoke earlier before I started this call. I see a lot of hands, and I'm really open to answering the questions. So I don't know if there's a way we can forward the questions, and I give a response, and then you forward it to the people asking. Because of time, we've actually overshoot our time, and I wouldn't want to go beyond this. Sheifa, please, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear
Yes.
you, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, so on the chat box, I've dropped an attendance link. So what I'm going to do is quickly just create another folder. So I'll just create another form and put it on there so you can ask your question, upload your question on it. I think that will be fine.
Beautiful.
Something like that. So you can forward answers to your email.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
I'm available. Thank you for the time. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys, for the engagement, and do enjoy the rest of your Friday.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. So everyone, okay, so I want to believe that most of the people here actually applied for the program. So quickly, I'm going to just say a few things about the program. So it's starting on Monday. Now, the program is actually hybrid. So meaning we'll be having some sessions here at the office, right? Physical sessions at the office. So those in Lagos can attend, are supposed to attend it actually, not can, should attend it. Okay, so if you have any questions about the program, you can just ask that now while I quickly work on the form to get the questions. It's okay, you can unmute your mic to ask.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
I can hear you.
Okay, sorry, I cannot really remember. I think I applied for the program, but I wanted to know the basic core of the program. Is it an incubation program or for startup? Please, can you recap on the program? Let's know what we are up for.
Okay, so the program is actually for basically anyone who has a need. You're running a business, because they're going to teach you how to pitch for grants, market your product, and it's going to be very concise. Like you're getting, yes, we do detailed digital marketing, right? But we're dealing with business people. We're not trying to teach digital marketers, digital marketing professionals here, although we have programs like that. But what we're doing is literally teaching you how to, what you would use for your business instantaneously, like digital marketing that you can do, how to run ads, how to sell on WhatsApp, sell on Instagram, put yourself out there, branding, how to go about it. And we're teaching you financial management as well, and also pitch deck, how to present your business in case you're going to sort for grants and all of that. So basically, that's just like a summary of what the program is about.
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry, what is the link to the registration of the program? Can you share the link to us? Or is it closed already?
No, it's not. I'll just, 1 second, let me get that from the website.
Hello, sir.
Hello, good day.
Good day, I can hear you.
Yeah, my name is Sheikh Usedi. I'm calling from the Gambia. I wanted to make clarification. I saw the newsletter and I applied. Till yesterday when I saw the letter for Nigerian nationals. So I want to still know how will I be fit for the program?
Okay, so you can always attend our online sessions. I mean, we're just going to have 2 sessions in physical, right? But we're going to have online sessions as well. That doesn't limit you from attending the online sessions for the teaching as well, because that link will be sent to the email. You registered with your email, right? And that's how you got the newsletter.
Yes.
So yes, the details for the classes will be sent to the email addresses as well, so that you can actually have access. Is that fine?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, very okay.
Oh, sorry. Does it mean that we're attending this program because we registered for the classes?
I don't understand the question. Sorry. Should you just rephrase that? Okay. Yeah.
Not
Oh, this
sure if I
webinar.
registered. Yes, this
Okay.
webinar, is it because of those that registered for the classes have access to this webinar?
Oh, okay. So how did you join the webinar? Was it from someone's status or?
No, I registered online. I saw it popped out on my browser. Then so I'm trying to know if I registered for this PowerUp project.
Okay, you got an email from us, right?
Yes, okay. I've seen the link. I think I already responded. Thank you. That's
okay. Okay, you're welcome. So I've just shared the link on the, yes, there is a certificate after the program. Okay, so this is the link to for registration. You can register on the website of the foundation. Yeah, okay, this is the attendance link. So quickly, I'm going to just create another form for those who want to ask questions to the facilitator.
Hello.
So that you can put your questions on it, and I'll share that here real quick. So any more questions?
Yeah, hello, Ma.
I can hear you.
Yeah, on the program form during the course of registration, it was put there that boot camp and hybrid. I don't know if the boot camp will still hold or is just for some people in a particular area.
Okay, so it's okay, yes. So we're going to open the boot camp to everyone, actually. But because the initial pattern of the program was for hybrid, so we're reducing it to just 2 days hybrid, right? 2 days hybrid here, but the rest of the program the rest of it will be online. The rest of classes will be online.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
All right.
For the physical classes, where is your location?
Okay, it's at Ogudu, GRA. So that will be sent also in an email, the description of the office. You know Ojota, once you get Ojota, yes. The other side allows the other side is Ogudu, yes.
All right.
Okay, someone wanted to ask questions as well.
Hello.
Yes,
I can hear you.
Can I talk, please?
Yes, you can.
All right. At the end of the whole thing, what are we to expect? Is there anything like certification or so, please? Or maybe reimbursement or thereabout? I wouldn't know, please. Thank you.
Oh, so for this one, we are going to be giving out certificates. Yes, the one we did last before this one was actually, there was an opportunity to pitch, and yes, grants was given out for that one. But for this one, there is no grants. So we're just helping you grow your business. And yes, there's certification at the end. But more importantly, we want you to gain something that you can use. The economy is not so friendly, so anything we can do to help, we are more than willing to help.
So when is the next meeting?
Okay, the next webinar will be next week, Thursday. So we can't have it for Friday because there is actually an engagement holding on Friday. So that will make it Wednesday. And an email will be sent to this effect as well.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Hello?
I can hear you.
All right, please, just for clarity, I wanted to be sure I get the class schedule right. So we say we're starting on Monday. How long will this class last for? And how long for each day?
Okay, so the classes are for 2 weeks, which is 3 days for each of the week.
Okay.
Yes.
What's the time duration for each day?
10 to 2 with a 30 minutes break.
10 to 2. Okay. Okay, 3 days a week, 2 days, 2 weeks in a month.
No, just
right.
2 weeks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 2 weeks
Okay,
out of
yes.
Okay. All right, that's fine. Thank you.
You're welcome.
One more, please. Hello, ma.
Okay, you can go ahead. I can hear you.
As per the physical class, which is starting on Monday, please, I don't know, can we see John online for those that are far